Welcome back to Ensuring Success 2025. We are so glad that you're here with us today. We're ready to do session 10 of 14. I'm curious, really curious to know how many of you, I wish I could have you raise your hands, have been here for all 10 sessions so far.
We will be surveying them at the end.
We will be surveying you at the end to find out if you've made it through the whole thing like we have. Anyway, this is CPA.com's CPA.com. That was last session, sorry. I'm sorry. This is CPA Practice Advisors' 12th year for doing, I'm freezing up. I'm sorry.
Ensuring Success
2025. Wow. Okay, yeah. I don't get much sleep during this event. All right, just a little bit of housekeeping for those of you who might just be joining us for this session. First of all, this is a panel discussion. As you can see, we have a big panel in front of us, and this is an interactive discussion, so that if you want to post questions to the members of the panel, you can do so by using the Ask a Question box that appears at the bottom of your screen right under this window. So anything you post in there will come up to us here at this desk, and we can add those questions to our conversation during this session. If you have a technical question, like you are having technical difficulty seeing or hearing us, or have any questions about CPE that you need to address, you can reach us. Our tech crew is standing by. Their contact information is at the top of your screen. Email info@ensuringsuccess.com, or there's also a phone number there that you can text if you want to do that instead. Ensuring Success would not be possible without the generous support of our sponsors. So I'd like to read through the list of our sponsors right now, and they include ADP, Avalara, Canopy, CPA.com, Digits, eFile4Biz, Field Guide, Carbon, Count, WriteWorks, SafeSend, SureLink, ValueInsights.ai, Wolters Kluwer, and Xero. And we particularly would like to thank Digits for sponsoring this session. And now, as for CPE credit, I want to make sure that you get the credit you deserve for this session and you learn how to do it. So if you haven't been with us before, this is the way it works. If you have been with us for a day and a half, you've already heard this 9 times, so sorry about that. But anyway, just as a reminder, there will be 3 breaks during this session. At the end of each of those breaks, we'll display a 3-digit code on the bottom of the screen. You'll need to write down that 3-digit code. And at the end of the day, or when you're ready to go to claim your credits, you'll go to the CPE/CE credit option at the top of your screen. When you click that, you'll be asked to enter the email address that you used to register for this event. If you haven't registered yet, that's okay. Enter your email address and you'll be prompted to register. And then after that, you'll be taken to the screen where you'll see a button that says Claim Your Credit. All you have to do is click that button and you'll see a list of all 14 sessions for Ensuring Success, and you'll enter the codes that you collected for each of the sessions you attended, and then click the button that says Download Your Certificate, and you'll be able to download your certificate. It's that easy. So this particular session, session number 10, is called AI in Action, what it can and can't do for your firm. And I'd like to first introduce our panel members, and they are Casey Johnson, Rob Hamilton, Byron Patrick, and my co-moderator, Alexander DeFelice. And I'd like them to give a brief introduction for you. Casey.
Thank you, Gail, and thank you for having me here. I realized, I think it's been about 7-8 years since I've been at this event. It's always so well produced, so glad to be back.
Thank
you. Casey Johnson, I am a principal at Be Radical, which is a futurist group that spun out of Singularity University. We enable leaders to prepare for the future, and I'm also the host of the AI Native Accounting podcast.
Hi, my name is Rob Hamilton. I lead the go-to-market teams at Digits. And so super excited to be here, and thanks for putting all this together, Gail.
Sure, thanks.
It's already been so much fun to engage and meet everybody. But beyond that, we build the world's first agentic general ledger that's enabling accounting firms to build AI native practices and grow with efficiency tools behind the work that they do.
Great. So. Byron.
Hi there, Byron Patrick. I am a CPA with about a quarter century of experience at this point. So in the
You
profession,
think you sound so old.
it works, right? Really spending a lot of time at this intersection of technology and accounting. It's really been kind of defined my career. Most recently, I just joined Carbon as Senior Product Manager for the ADER product, Period Close and Advisory. In addition to that, I have an AI education company, TB Academy. We educate accountants on how to use generative AI effectively in their day-to-day. So super excited to have this conversation with all of you and help some more accountants embrace the new world.
And I, once again, am Alexandra DeFelice, Chief Marketing and Business Development Officer for JMBM. I almost said my old law firm in Los Angeles, California. I am co-moderator with Gail, designated bell ringer with some guests.
All right. Thank you, everyone. So you've probably gotten used to us talking about AI. I believe we have hit on it in every single session so far, some more than others.
Do you have a bingo card for folks at home? Or?
We should have done that. Yeah. We should have definitely done that.
Yes, no, and actually this is another one of those sessions where I wanted to kind of get the pulse on the audience. So
Okay.
I'm going to send something out right now, and I promise I will not block your CPE codes, just to get... Each of the questions are a little bit different. They're not the same every single session. So in this case, I want to ask, how confident are you in understanding of what today's AI tools are capable of, and what best describes your organization's position on adoption? So I'm going to send that out for you guys to fill out.
All right. Okay. So while you guys are entering your answers to those questions, let's talk a little bit about where AI is right now in the spectrum of AI accessibility and what it's doing, what it's good at right now. Then we're going to talk a little bit more about where we think it's going. But for now, what should we be looking at in terms of the usage of AI and what its capabilities are?
I'll start, sure. I think the top use case is specific for the profession. First, it's great at getting in and analyzing massive amounts of data, right? So I recently left the association, and I think about during COVID and PPP time, Lisa Simpson and the whole advocacy team as well, the amount of legislation that they had to go through if they had this tool, because ChatGPT is only, 3 years old? It just, we didn't have that back then. If they had a tool like this to just go through that massive amount of legislation and help the teams to decipher, how amazing that would have been. So that, you guys talked a lot about tax research in the last session. I think the maturity of any kind of AI system right now for research is phenomenal. Just giving accessibility and helping to, make it understandable very quickly. And of course, we're seeing with the more recent solutions like a Digits, the ability for it to categorize transactions and to help with the end of month close. I mean, those are, to me, the three things that it's doing so well. And of course, like general helping with emails and marketing, et cetera.
It's been really interesting to see how it's starting to evolve. Everything's moving so quickly as well. Yeah. It can be really easy to, like, I can't keep up, even for us, building the technology. Sometimes it's like these new things come out and it's like, what does that mean for me? And so as an accounting professional, a lot of it is just diving in and figuring out where it fits and mapping out kind of like the different places, which also becomes challenging because there's a lot of mud in the water of what is AI and what isn't AI. And we're just now getting to the point where there are workflows within accounting that are more distinctly going to be kind of like affected or made more efficient in certain ways. You touched a little bit on like categorization, whereas which takes like different types of models and things like that to utilize, where up until pretty recently, really it was more like marketing use cases, editing my email and things like that, which as you're like, that's nice for me, but I don't know that necessarily like deeply affects like the work I'm doing in like a general ledger.
Not really life-changing.
Yeah, so all these things are going to continue to evolve. It's like it's been really interesting to see where those pieces kind of like intersect.
Well, and you kind of nailed it. Like this question seems like an easy question, like right, but it's not. And the reason is because these tools have the white canvas issue, right? Like our tools historically have had buttons that will tell us what to do. Each button has a purpose. And now we're given this technology where it's this white box and it can do whatever you put into that white box, and maybe not. So it is a challenge, and it's a little bit up to the individual to get familiar with it to figure out what it can do. It can do data extraction. It can do predictions, categorizations. It can help with summarizing. I hadn't even thought about like
Isn't that wild? Yeah.
Like, man, I feel so
Those
bad
teams
for
were up
Carrie
all
and
night.
everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
All night.
Right?
Yeah.
Like those tools, so the ability to summarize data and take I mean, if there's a large document that I need to consume, I don't read it anymore. I drop it in there. I go for a walk with the dogs, and I have a conversation with the document, via ChatGPT. So it's really up to the individual to find those things that they can do with it, like in a confident way. But there's so much that we can do. And then systems like Digits are giving us some of the buttons that will help us to do very specific things to achieve certain goals.
And that's something that we have to think about very deeply as well as we build out the software, where it becomes that UI element on the software actually ends up becoming more important. Because otherwise, everything is going to get obfuscated behind that white box, black box, whatever you want to, white canvas, black box, whatever it is on the other side. And so the software itself needs to help elevate the things that you as the professional need to be able to pay attention to adequately do your job, and maybe move more into this verification, kind of like surveyor of the work, rather than the one needing to kind of do the work within the ledger in every instance or workflow.
And I think that I call it the blank canvas, but whatever, it's white, it's blank. That's the hardest part. That's been with the last year. A year ago when we were talking about AI, it was like, what's ChatGPT? I mean, how quickly it has happened. But there's no, like, most things, we have so many software. We've had 14 sessions, each is sponsored by a different kind of software. And there's tons more out there, and they're all serving a very specific purpose, right? So it's just confusing as to what it could be used for, and how it's there's not, unless you go to a university. You guys are all teaching courses on this, but it's not. They're saying it's not taught in school yet, right? So I think the email use is the less scary use, because it's the questions we keep getting is, what about the client data? What about the client data, right? So if they're just going to start off, what should they? A lot of them are just experimenting with it. What should they start off with, and what should they not start off with?
Well, and that's, so you said like email is kind of the low risk area to begin playing with it. And that's what we teach at TB Academy. It's like, start off with like low risk personal use cases are awesome. I mean, my cooking has never been better since ChatGPT, because of the recipes I'm able to create.
We were talking about holiday shopping for bargains.
Using it for those low risk things where you're not worried about data security and privacy is really the way to get comfortable with it. And then, like courses like TB Academy, we teach you what is safe, what is not, how to navigate those things, how to evaluate, because it's not a question of whether or not generative AI is safe. It's a question of, is Digits safe? Digits has done the things to ensure that there's secure information. Is the subscription I'm using safe? You had the session earlier with Dave and everybody talking about security.
Yeah.
Like the punchline is, there are safe ways to do it, and you can overcome those concerns. You just have to get the right resources to help you with that. That's no longer a concern. You can put client data in these things. You just need to know how to do it properly.
And I don't know if we got the resources uploaded, but my former employer, CPA.com, just this week released a due diligence checklist for AI vendors. And it kind of tackles a lot of this. So there are lots of free resources and questions to ask the vendors as well. So
and it's something that each vendor should be taking a distinct stand on.
That's right.
You know, there's initial ways that someone could pass the first test, which is that they have a stance on this is how we
Transparent.
approach it, and they're transparent
Yes,
about it,
100%.
and that they can answer some of those questions. It's something we've taken very seriously from the very beginning, and it's part of why at Digits that we've trained a lot of our models, or all of our models, in-house and built proprietary categorization models that keep everything specifically down to the company level or the firm level and how we're doing categorization and understanding the work that's being done with any one of those pieces. I'm just proud of you for being able to translate these custom recipes into actually making the food. I could make a great recipe, but nothing's happening on the stove after that. This is a challenge, but yeah.
I will say I found another
that.
good one, personal use on ChatGPT this week. I set for Christmas shopping price alerts on these 2 things that I've been eyeing that are a little expensive, and so then I get notified with a link. Hey,
Oh,
this
it
just
contacts
dropped.
you.
Yeah, it just dropped
Right.
20%. You know, go
Nice.
buy it here.
But I
That
think
helped.
what's interesting for these accounting firms, and something that our team spends a lot of time on, is in the cloud transition. We were talking about this last night a little bit, which is that there was a lot of the same sentiment and hesitations within the profession around moving to the cloud.
Yeah.
And that was a question of where the work is getting done. And that did have implications on how you could structure your firm and the types of clients you could sign on. This transition to AI native software and AI native ledgers is more a question of how the work gets done. And that does have an impact
Sure.
on how the industry structures their firms. And so what we talk with folks on every day is the first thing you need to do is lay out all your workflows. And there are folks that use tools like Carbon that actually have done that effort, where they've laid out all of their pieces and the things they're doing every day. And you can start to understand
Yep.
where can AI layer into this, because it's not going to be able to solve everything. And that's kind of like, it's easy to make that jump, but the human is required in almost every one of these loops. As much as we're automating categorization as transactions come into Digits, like in our August close, it was 96% of the transactions ended up not being touched by a human afterwards. But there's still that 4% that is more of an asymptotic growth, where we need folks in the loop to help with these things and make sure that each one of the steps that you go through as a practitioner is bringing in your expertise appropriately as well.
Well, I think it's a really good exercise for firms to do, because more and more they're going to want to emphasize to their clients what it is they do that you can't get done in an automated format.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what are some of the things that it can't do? Can we go in that direction just a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say that it's probably more the things that, like, how do you partner with it appropriately, which I think we were kind of getting at before. Like, similarly, like, you can partner on cooking things much better than I could. Like, I could be a partner on, a recipe, but I can't cook the recipe. And so, you could, I'm carrying this metaphor a little bit too far, but like, to that point, it's the same in the work that you're doing as a firm, and why there's specific models that are good for everything. It's easy to, when Digits was started in 2018, we were started as a machine learning company. AI as a term didn't
Right.
exist.
Yeah.
Some genius marketer at I'm not sure what company came in and rebranded everything as AI.
His
But in-
computer probably told him to do it.
it might have. He created this thing
Yeah.
that. But in that world, like in the area of machine learning, there's a lot of distinct types of models that allow you to approach different problem sets. So what we've been seeing most recently with GPT and Copilot and Gemini is what's called like a large language model. And what that does is it's trained on, at least as it relates to accounting, the entirety of the accounting knowledge of the internet. And all it's doing is predicting the next word that's supposed to come afterwards. That's why all these text type of use cases are really beneficial. But the thing is that because it's just predicting what it thinks the next thing is, it's not great for something that you need to be deterministic on. So like categorization of a transaction, you don't really want that hallucinating or just like making a random guess as to like what you think the next thing would be, or let alone do any math. Like that's not the right place for an LLM. And this is why laying out those use cases of which LLM or which machine learning model can work correctly. So what Digits does is we kind of assess across. There's a whole different machine learning area called predictive models, which is deterministic. And we're doing kind of like statistical analysis across all of the transactions and the vendors and customers and everything coming in, and create what's called a similarity model on the back end. And that is a deterministic input. So when you do something in Digits, we learn from that automatically. And if you see something similar the next time, it automatically mimics what was done before. So it's based on the past versus predicting what's happening next. But those two things, like just sending all of your data up to GPT and saying, what do you think? Like that isn't going to give you the output. That's where the term hallucination comes from. It's just making up because it's eager. It wants to answer your question. And that isn't always the right use case for what you're trying to achieve based on what you're looking to do.
I think the context one is a huge piece because it is great at the what, but not so much the why. Yeah. And also, when we think about in a firm, right, practical use, it can't lead, it can't manage, it can't have the relationship that is so necessary. That's the business that we're in, right, with the clients. So it can't deal with culture issues. It can give, recommendations to a leader and be a thought partner, but it can't handle those pieces.
1000%.
Yeah, and I think, there's a line of walking with marketing hype and the reality of it. And, there's a lot of buzz about agents and what agents are going to do and all these things. And we're in the infancy of agents. Like, agents are very early in what they're capable of, and their capabilities are small because they're like one step in the process. It can do one step in the process, but you can't sit down and have an agent do an audit for you. That's just not going to happen. There are little bitty pieces that it can do, and there's a lot of confusion because you have owners and partners coming to their team and saying, well, what are we doing with AI to be more efficient?
FOMO is real right now, yes.
And I'm with my managing partner friends, and they're telling me they're doing AI stuff. Well, what are they doing? Well, they're more efficient because of it. And, so it creates this tension where there's this misunderstanding. And frankly, I am not about the efficiency gains from it. I am about the ability to go deeper and actually increase the quality of the output. I had a project just the other day that, if without ChatGPT, easily an hour's worth of work, if not more. I knocked it out in 15 minutes. I didn't utilize the next 45 minutes to move on. I utilized the next 45 minutes to go deeper in that project and increase the output of what I did. So it's not all about just efficiencies. It's about actually a better work product if you know how to collaborate with the tool.
Absolutely. And this goes back to the original question of what can't it do? And it's partially why the AICPA has done such a great job over the last couple of years guiding folks towards advisory. Because talk about something that AI can't do in the right way right now for business owners is that interpretation and advisory on how any business owner should approach their own growth or how they're building their business. And unlocking that potential of your team to be able to not focus on the tedium of a month-end close process and focus on, honestly, what I think anyone in the profession can say, I got into accounting because of this, was to help businesses be successful. It wasn't to kind of like necessarily, as much as there's a dopamine hit when you kind of like clear that reconciliation and you're like, I love this, this is great. Like, yes, that's part of it, but you're really trying to help that business owner be successful. And the more you can spend time on that versus being Gumby and getting pulled in a million different directions to try and cobble data together is a good thing. So,
and to that point, it doesn't understand the broader ecosystem and what all the true, it only understands what you give it. And I saw twice this week these Waymo examples. So a Waymo took one of their customers straight into a police shootout because it didn't look around and see what's going on.
And then interpret it.
Yeah, exactly. And there were in another one, there were 3 Waymos like all trying to go at the same place, and they all just bumper car.
No, you go. It's like you're too
we do
polite.
that as humans too.
Too
at
polite,
intersections,
yeah.
right?
But that's a perfect example of showing you where the machines have limitations.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, we're going to take just a really quick break to hear a word from our sponsor, Digits, and then we'll be back with your first CPE code for this session.
Hi, I'm Megan Reed, a senior accountant on Digits R&D team. We've completed more than 2,000 monthly closes on Digits, and I can confidently say, in 15 years as a professional accountant, this is truly a game changer. At Digits, we close simple clients in 20 minutes. As great as that is, Digits accelerates every stage of the process, from start to finish, for clients of any complexity. Digits updates financials in real time, so we can spot and resolve variances far ahead of close. No running reports, no Excel files, no pivot tables. It saves hours. Collaboration is built right in, making it easy to share context across the team and communicate with clients quickly and clearly. At month's end, Digits packages all of this work into live dashboards and interactive reports that wow your clients.
Welcome back. And if you take a look at the bottom of your screen, you'll see the first CPE code for this session. Oh, I forgot to even explain the bell in the beginning, didn't I?
Oh, I think they know about it by now.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, if you're not paying attention, we wake you up a little bit with the bell, and everyone's a fan. So
There we go. So you want to write that down if you're going to get CPE credit for this session.
anyway, I'm not going to show the poll results. I will. Oh, now they're clear, so I can show this to you guys now. So it's kind of what we thought with everything else, which is that it's limited knowledge. They know it more than they did a year ago when it was, what the heck is ChatGPT? But the most people said they have some awareness, but they're unsure about its full capabilities. With the question about what best describes your organization's position on AI adoption, they just say we don't have consistent AI use yet. But a few, like very few people said that they have people that are experimenting with it. So I want to ask this question, which is that you each are teaching in some way, right? And I guess I can go down and I'll start with Casey, it's a two-part question, so take what you will, but at what point do they come to you for education? They're not at this point where they're saying, I don't even know what ChatGPT is. And then what are like the top 2 or 3 questions that you're getting that people want to learn to do more with?
Yeah, and you brought up security actually earlier. I hear this over and over and over.
Yep.
And it was funny when, Rob, you compared it to cloud adoption.
Yeah.
And 15 years ago, that's what I was in, was cloud. And it's very similar, the questions that I hear today about that big transformation of moving to the cloud. I think it's a little scary, though, when you read those results that the organization does not have a use policy or like consistency, because to me, your biggest threat are the users. They're the ones that are going to click on things they shouldn't be doing or uploading data to places that they shouldn't be. So if you don't have a policy, you're going to run into shadow IT problems. People are going to be using stuff because you didn't tell them what they can use and how to use it, and give them a governed sandbox. But
I think that maybe the reason they don't have a policy is because they don't know what it can be used for and what they can't if they're the firm owner. So how can I make a policy about something I know nothing about?
Well, there's a lot of consultants out there that are fantastic at this. You don't have to accomplish it all internally and just by yourself and trying to figure it out. Because even if
can I ask AI to write my policy for me?
it might get you like 80% there, but it's not going to, again, the context. It's not going to understand all the context of your firm, the type of clients that you serve, and it is extremely sensitive data that CPA firms work with. So I always recommend to everybody, you don't have to be the subject matter expert on everything, but you need to have a policy. So there's tons of amazing consultants out there that can help to get you there. Engage one of those.
Well, and this is a lot of where, kind of I had mentioned it earlier, where laying out your workflows is genuinely the best place to start that we've seen with accounting firms, is because that allows you to know where you are unique and what is consistent, and then where you need to be optimizing for. Because when we have kind of like training, academy.digits.com, where we teach you how to use our product, but at the same time, we're teaching you where the AI is going to affect your workflows specifically, and what that means for any specific role or job or thing that you're doing within your firm. And that's what Megan, who I think folks saw in the break, leads that team, and she's been an accountant for 15 years and trains firms all day, every day on what are you doing today? It's not just about digits. Like, this is a larger transformation. We are a part of that. We are a tool that you can use to bring these things forward. But at the same time, we need to understand the bigger picture. That's actually where tools like Carbon are like really, really helpful, because you can start to understand like what is the bigger picture in my firm and which part is still requiring the human in the loop and which part can be augmented appropriately.
And that goes to like one of the first questions that comes up is, where can I use it in my firm?
Yeah,
right? And
exactly.
so like that is one of the main questions. Like, where can I use it? Like, where can I apply it in my firm? So having systems that show you your workflows will give you some ideas on that. The second one is security questions. Actually, that is the first question, technically. And one of the things with TB Academy, if you take our courses, we have a policy generator that will interview you and ask you all the questions about your firm and give you that template as a starting point, because everything with this stuff is a starting point. And that's one of the things, maybe even going back to like what it can't do, it can get you 80% on most things. Yeah. There's not a lot of things that can get you to 100%. So what can it do in my organization? Data security, and then how do I begin to use it in my organization? And I think this goes back to something that we've been saying for years. I mean, this is my 4th or 5th time here, and we almost always talk about like change management and technology adoption. All of those things that we've been saying for 20 years about like training your firm, building a culture of change, building a culture of sharing, all of those things apply to bringing it into your organization. And this, more than ever, because there are so many ways to use it, if we are sharing in the organization and we've had training so we have a common vernacular, it can be really powerful. And that's one of the biggest hurdles, which is why all those firms are like, we're kind of dabbling, we don't know.
Yeah.
Get training for your firm, have a common vocabulary, and begin sharing ways to use it safely.
Yeah, and I think that that's the problem. I don't think they're experimenting as a firm. I think they're experimenting as individuals. People.
That's exactly right.
And even from my perspective, and in my law firm and my marketing team, I'm like, we're having a meeting next week so that we can all share what we've been using it for. Because I'm like, this is not cheating. You know, this is your. It's like you have a younger assistant under you, but you have to still make sure that it's correct, but share it with the rest of us. If something that would take you 2 hours takes you 2 minutes because you've done this, then let's all do that, because it's not like we are sitting there twiddling our thumbs.
Yeah. That's a good point, but I also hear from a lot of the firms, maybe at the senior level, they aren't as comfortable as some of the more younger generation that's coming up in the firm. So I recommend a lot of the reverse mentoring. Let those younger staff teach the more senior execs on how to use it and the power of it. But I also want to caution one thing, because Byron, you made a good point about another very popular question that we get, and it is, well, how do I use this? How do I implement? First, you have to define the problem that you're trying to solve, because this FOMO of like, we're not using AI I hear it everywhere, and they're so scared that they're behind. I actually don't think they're as behind as they are.
Everybody.
But if you're not defining the problem or identifying an opportunity, because it also helps in a lot of positive ways for growth, new service lines, et cetera, define that first. Don't just implement to check a box and say, well, we use AI. That's not
Well, it's interesting because a bunch of people are asking still, what is AI and what's not? And that's how you started off, right? Like to say, like, they're like, if I do this, is this AI? And that was the same thing with cloud computing. Like I have this video of myself on YouTube that pops up. I think it's from 2007 that I'm like, online banking is cloud computing, cloud computing, cloud computing, cloud computing. Like,
well, this is funny because this is kind of like, I'd made this comment earlier about like there's a lot of mud in the water
that's
around like what's happening where folks are taking things that probably have existed in their products for a really long time, and then just calling it AI, because no one knows the difference. They're just like, look,
AI
look what
washing.
we have. It's and they're like, we get a benefit by putting this in our marketing, so I'm going to just put it in my marketing.
Yeah.
And that doesn't
And
mean
if you
that.
don't, it's like, well, you must be behind the times if you're not AI.
Exactly. So like the incentive structure is really messing this whole thing up. But yeah, I'm sympathetic, because that is it's challenging to navigate, which is why understanding the underlying models is so important and what they're good at and what they're not. And so we were talking about earlier where we have LLMs that are more these predictive things where like it's great for the text in, text out types of inputs, like an email, whatever it may be. But if you need something to do, like categorization, if that's where you're looking to save time, an LLM is not a great thing to use for that. And so this is where you're being able to know your workflow, so you can go talk to that technology and say, what type of model are you using on the underlying system, is where it starts to come into play.
Yeah, and I may have a little bit of a take on this, and in the sense like Digits uses you define like the different models, the predictive models, the generative models, and these types of things, because Digits is experts at artificial intelligence. And I frankly think for a lot of end users, organizations, it almost doesn't matter. I trust you as the vendor to select the right tool, and if it solves a pain point that I have or does something for me, that is fantastic. So I think it's about picking the right vendors that you can trust and partner with to deliver to you the right technology to solve your needs.
Absolutely. And being able to ask those questions that drive that forward. I think one of the most common things we've run into, and Jeff talked about this on stage at DCPA recently, which is there's a lot of companies that are helping with like statistical analysis and things like that, and they're saying like, look at our AI for FP&A, and it's like, that's just brute force statistical analysis. That is not AI. That's not machine learning. That's been able to be done for a very long time. And so just calling it that, again, is layering into this mud in the water as it goes. So it's, again, sympathetic to the challenges, but if we're asking the right questions and finding the right vendors that that you can trust, that's where it all starts.
I see a lot of people think OCR is AI.
Oh, yeah.
That's a popular
Yeah.
one, which optical character recognition has been around for years and years. And finally got to a really
But
good
it's
accuracy.
an incredible example.
Yeah.
I'm like really happy you just brought that up, because like you're right. OCR has existed for a while, and it probably felt magical for a really long time. But in order to get OCR to work really well, you needed to like really train a template, like maybe 2 templates, because you're like, here's where this field is specifically, and if the field is 3 pixels lower on the next one, because your client like scanned something in incorrectly or weird, it would break. And so there's a whole different model area, what's called a layout-aware language model, that is a new version of model that inherently understands the structure of documents and automatically extracts everything out. And so it's easy for an older company that's like built their whole business on OCR to be like, look at our AI, and it's just OCR. And so really leveraging this new technology, the understanding the differences of like how that work is happening, and this is where the trust of the vendor comes in, and being able to dive into those pieces and how the technology is actually being implemented is so important. So.
Okay, we're going to take another really quick break and hear another message from our sponsor, Digits, and then we'll be right back with your second CPE code.
Accounting is evolving. Clients expect speed, accuracy, and insight without compromise. That's where Digits comes in. Powered by the Agentic General Ledger, Digits eliminates the manual grind by interpreting messy transaction data, booking it automatically, and streamlining your workflows while keeping you firmly in control. Secure, precise, and built for modern firms, Digits gives you faster inputs, smarter workflows, and interactive dashboards that showcase your value to clients.
I can confidently say, in 15 years as a professional accountant, this is truly a game changer.
With Digits, accounting isn't manual. It's AI native, smarter workflows, stronger client relationships, and a practice built for the future. Get started today at digits.com.
Welcome back. Be sure to look at the bottom of the screen right now, and you'll see the second CPE code for this session. So if you're planning on collecting CPE for this session, you'll need to write that one down. Okay, so we're talking a little bit about what what AI can't do, and people just kind of use the term out there and say, well, I'm AI, I use AI, so because I'm cool. So
You are cool.
We're all cool.
Well, and with now we're getting questions like, well, now I think all my vendors are liars because they're saying that it's AI and it's not.
Well, it's, and this is also part of having communities to talk to other peers about what they've experienced. And, there are definitely people out there who push the envelope with respect to what they are building, what they are selling, and it is difficult to navigate. It's definitely challenging as a consumer to know who you can trust and what you can do, but that's the important part of having a community, being able to talk to peers who have tried it, have conversations, and evaluate and really challenge them. Like, ask the hard questions. I have been supporting accounting firms for most of my career in a buying or selling type of transactions, and a lot of accountants don't know what questions to ask, so they just kind of accept whatever is fed to them.
Okay, so what should they ask?
Well,
Give me like 2 or 3 questions.
Yeah, I mean, for one, you need to be able to use the tool. If you can't actually test the tool on your data.
So the question is, can I like test this tool out for free?
It doesn't always have to be for free. I understand that software vendors exist to make money and they have to support themselves. So paid pilots are not unusual, but you should be able to get access to it, to actually use it, actually put your paws on it, keyboard. What kind of resources are available? Types of training. I mean, we've talked about the Megan is helping to train firms. Like, what kind of resources do you put behind it? And actually see realistic outcomes of the tools. And don't get lost in this, is it AI or not AI? If it solves a problem for you, it does not matter.
And I promise you, I'm going to save everybody a lot of time. If you go to cpa.com/GenAI, the AI working group, we're innovation partners to them, has created 2 amazing docs, breaking down the models as well as all of these questions, due diligence, and even provides context. So like not just the question, but okay, what are you looking for in the response? From
Say the website again.
It's cpa.com/GenAI. They've got all these resources. They don't even gate them. It's totally free. You don't even have to enter your email. You can just download them there.
And is it accounting specific? Because that's where we got into at the last session, where there's the general, right? Where it's like, but then it's like that we're comparing it to like Encyclopedia Britannica back in the day, and he's going to show up. Versus this was for a tax research one, versus very specific tax research, and it's going to be this small and
I mean CPA.com is wholly owned by the AICPA. It's all made for firms and practitioners. So it's in their language.
Okay.
So are there tools out there that that people haven't even thought about? I mean, ChatGPT I describe as the Kleenex of generative AI, because it's just it's the
common
default name for all of those things. But are there cool little, like last session we did a session on tax research, and there are tax research tools that's all they do. What other things are out there that are incredible that accountants should know about that may be very specified?
There's 2 tools that come to mind that I'd love to talk about Digits here, but there's actually 2 other tools that I use every day that have like changed aspects of like everything that I do.
Changed your life.
Like
Byron
I
cooking.
can't. I basically can't remember the last time I typed on a keyboard because of one of these tools. It's called Whisper.
Whisper's awesome.
It's incredible. You literally just like press a button on your keyboard and you talk, and it perfectly dictates. And it fixes my grammatical errors.
It improves the dictation.
It makes me sound
It cleans
less,
up what you've
less
said.
dumb.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. And it puts it like grammar and punctuation was never my strong suit in school, and it just like makes me look like I'm really good at it. It's incredible. And so that's a really cool tool. And then a separate one is called Granola. I don't know if folks
heard of it,
have
but I don't.
seen it. It's basically just it's a note taker. People are familiar with the note taker, but this one is particularly good in a lot of different ways, where you can kind of like bucket the transcripts and query against them and build your to-do list items and all this kind of stuff. It's really, really neat. So at least I don't know if you were looking for specific tool recommendations.
that's cool. Yeah.
But
No, that was actually a question from the audience of what else is out there that we should know about.
Yeah.
Or explore.
Yeah, one of the tools that I just love is Notebook LM. It's from Google, and it's actually what it can do. Like the capabilities are expanding on it significantly. But my favorite thing is, again, going back to my article example, if I get large documents, articles, I drop it in Notebook LM, I say create, and it produces a 15-minute podcast that I can listen to that summarizes the information that was in that document. With two hosts, they're talking to each other about the things. And you can add multiple sources to create this. Think about if you miss like a big meeting and you have a meeting transcript, you could throw it in there and they could give you the overview while you walk the dogs. I mean, Notebook LM is just one of the coolest tools. It now will do slide generation. You can just chat with it. It has very quickly become one of my favorite like non-traditional popular tools. Yeah.
So, I see a lot of startups, right?
Yeah.
I'll give you 3. I'm not a CPA, but these are all tools that I just have been blown away by. One, and they were in our Startup Accelerator, but Filed, they build the agents that it doesn't matter what your tax prep software is, but it sits on top of it and it gets you about 80% of the way. And I'm sure that'll only improve and get better, but I was really impressed with them. Laurel.
It's F-Y-L-D, right?
F-I-L-E.
I-L-D.
Yep. I don't want to know how much they paid for that domain.
Yeah.
Laurel, they were also part of the Accelerator. I was very impressed with them. For the firms that still want to track time, regardless of their billing model, it just automated it across all the systems. It saves firms a tremendous amount of time, but also, improves their realization rates, et cetera. So I really like them. And I saw one of your sponsors, Count, recently a demo of them. They have this client sentiment tracking that I was really impressed with. Like it goes into all of the systems and then reports back to you in case you don't know that there's an issue brewing with one of the clients, and it gives you little emojis and smiley faces
really
or
cool.
that. So that was really cool when I saw that too.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that last one as an example because it does bridge into where the profession is moving towards that advisory.
Deeper insights.
And that like deeper insight, interpretation of the client's like behavior on calls or how they're feeling about things, like it isn't inherently always built into the training of being an accountant and coming into the profession. And so tools that can help with that feel great, because if you can leverage something like Digits, and we're largely automating the month-end close process, so you're saving all this tedium, how do I interpret where I should put that extra time? Like you knew with your project from earlier, great, I planned for 2 hours, I did this in 15 minutes. How do I like layer in more into it? Tools like that are gonna give you some insights into your client base of exactly where I could potentially drive, or maybe there's cross-selling opportunities, where maybe it'll flag like, hey, maybe you're a tax firm, but you have a CAS practice within it, and they're complaining about bookkeeping or something along those lines, and you're just like, please send me your EIN number. I need that to file. And you focus on what your end outcome is, but miss that nugget.
Right.
And so you could drive that over in the right way is really neat. So.
Yeah.
We're going to break once more just for another quick message from Digits, and then we'll be back a little, again, just to talk a little bit more about the shortcomings of AI.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. I love that.
You log in to Digits and just immediately go, ooh la la.
With the Digits Accountant Partner Program, you don't just get powerful AI native tools, you gain a foundation to build an AI native firm and elevate your client's experience.
You made my day. Like, I'm really excited. I thought I was going to have to build this myself.
You guys have something really nice in here.
really sexy, really slick, smooth.
Our partners are already unlocking new ways to wow their clients and accelerate their practice's growth.
I would say it saved us 5 hours at least, if not more.
I used to spend hours going and trying to work out what were the key messages to bring to my clients. Now I have those messages at my fingertips.
And the reports in Digits are just beautiful. And
this is exactly my edge here. Like, I love this because my clients don't give a shit if I use QuickBooks or not.
Everybody will start begging for access.
Start an AI native practice today and scale your firm's capacity without adding headcount. Get started at digits.com.
Now that I have Digits, there's no going back.
Welcome back. Be sure to take a look at the bottom of the screen and pick up the CPE code for this session. This is the third code, which you'll need if you're planning on getting CPE credit here.
I'm sorry.
So we want to
Sorry,
talk
I was still let Byron do it. You could do it again, so in case people.
All right. We want to talk a little bit as we approach the end of this session about some of the shortcomings of AI. And there's a podcast I enjoy. It's a financial planning podcast called Pete the Planner. And one of the programs he does from time to time is Stump the AI. And they'll present a financial planning scenario and throw it into AI, and AI will tell them what they should do. And sometimes they're like, yeah, that was right. But for the most part, he and his podcast partner will spot the things where AI didn't realize this about the client, or some, background information or personal thing, or something that, even a tax-related thing that maybe it should have caught, that made it give a financial planning response that isn't actually quite accurate. And I think that's kind of fun it's a good reminder that there still should be a human interaction, and that AI doesn't always have all the answers.
Human in the loop verification.
Yeah, exactly.
It's 100% needed. I have a perfect example of the shortcoming in my personal experience. CPA Practice Advisor, you guys hosted the Thought Leader Symposium. It was in February. ChatGPT had come out just that previous November.
I remember what you were going to talk about.
Yes, and I think Becky is here, actually.
Yes.
She was one of your speakers, and she said, okay, everybody take out your phone, you're going to download it, and we're going to do this little exercise and just ask it questions. Who is this? Who is that? Whatever. I asked it, who is Doug Slater? And ChatGPT came back so confidently and told me Doug had died, all of his legacy, and this. It was horrible. And so I screenshot it and text Doug because I knew he wasn't dead. He was in Hawaii with his wife Cheryl.
Oh, that sounds nice.
And we all had a good chuckle about it. But that was my very first experience with ChatGPT. I wasn't too impressed at the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's a good reminder that, and I see all the time, it happens a lot in legal where people cite cases that didn't exist. Not to, put a negative spotlight on Deloitte, but I just saw in the news this week they got busted again for a client's work and citing things that didn't exist. So you've got to have that verification.
Yeah. Well, and it just raises the point so much that training is so important because, it's like driving, right? Like, just because you're getting behind the wheel doesn't mean you're good at driving. And the same is true. Like, I would love that show to give me the chance to prompt on those things. And I bet I could get a better result than they are putting in.
I think so,
because
too.
it is about the user and their ability to give instructions. And so, people, it's about communication. And good communicators tend to be good prompters, and bad communicators tend to be bad prompters and get frustrated with the result. It just happens. So you have to experiment. You have to practice. You have to have failures that make you go, okay, this is a boundary, this is a wall, this is a thing. Like, you got to keep going back and trying.
And I think that's what scares a lot of CPAs is that they don't want to fail. They like certainty. They want to give answers. They want to know They want to know that they're doing it right before they do it. Right. So how to get over that fear? And Aaron, one of our speakers from yesterday, was like, it's like a startup mentality: fail quickly, fail often, and then pick yourself up and brush yourself off. And it's okay, really, because everyone's falling right now.
Yeah. It really is. And one of the things I really enjoy about playing with ChatGPT or whatever generative program I'm using is that they don't get tired. You know, you can pose a question, and maybe your prompt wasn't quite as targeted as it should have been, like with Pete the Planner, and it'll give you an answer. Maybe it's not quite what you want, but then you prompt with additional information, and it'll give you more, and then it'll come back and say, would you like me to look at it this way? Or would you like me to present it this way? Or would you like some humor in my answer, or whatever it is? It'll keep going. It'll stay up all night. I mean,
we joke that we think about it as like an over-eager intern.
Yeah.
You know?
It never runs out of gas.
Yeah, just keeps going, you know, so.
All right. Well, this has been a lot of fun, this session. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Digits, for making this session possible. This was really great.
Thank you for having us. It was really, really fun.
Super. Thank all of you for being with us in this session. We are going to be back at the top of the hour with session 11, which is From Ethics to Execution, Building AI-Ready Firms, More AI, in the Age of Intelligent Assurance. So we will see you at the top of the hour.